Are we all on Shutter Island? I got to give thanks to DK. I put my appreciation to him in the description for the idea and the inspiration for this stream. From what he said last night, we're all on Shutter Island. And it was hilarious when I thought about it. But are we all on Shutter Island? And it is in reference to the movie Shutter Island for those who don't know. And it's a saying now. We're all on Shutter Island. It's a metaphor referencing the plot to the 2010 Martin Scorsese film Shutter Island. So it means that basically we're all trapped by our own delusions, our biases, and constructed realities. This is why I presented a lot of the illusions yesterday to let people see the differences of perspective. As Varun, good to see you, brother. And the differences in perspective did come in the form of the shadows that are casted from certain objects. Like you look at it from one side, you get a circle, the other, you get a square, and only combining our knowledge to form the third mind, the fourth mind, depending on how many of us there is thinking about the problem, only then can we really figure out what the shape is by looking at the shadows, looking at the shadow that it cast. See, you can't prevent the shadow you cast. It's going to cast it in different light that you stand in. So in reference, the same thing is with thoughts. You cast a shadow of yourself, a behavioral shadow, so to say. And this lets people see the truth, regardless of what somebody wants to say. This thing right here casts three different shadows, but there are more than that. There are more than that. So when you look at it in different angles now, we see that it can cast 6 shadows, possibly even variations of all of these as well, depending on where you're standing. Your perspective on reality may not be wrong, but that doesn't mean that you're the only one that sees that perspective. It comes in different forms. Now, when we looked at a lot of the coloring, like the colors in this one, the colors actually look different. The green square inside of the 2 bigger squares look different. They are not different. They're actually the same exact color. We can see this also, trying to see if I have the other one in there. That was one that I didn't, okay. So we have this one here. When we remove the thing, we see that the pinks look a little different. So the 2 pinks look slightly different. The one that's over the gray looks darker. The one that's over the red looks lighter. But in actuality, when we cover it with a white covering that I made, you can see that both of these shades of pink of the inner square are exactly the same. Right here. They're exactly the same. There is no difference. They're exactly the same. And the same thing holds true for this one, where the red square, you would actually think, hey, wait a minute, this looks totally, no. The one on the right is darker than the one on the left. But then when I put the covering on it, we see that they are exactly the same color. Last night, we showed the one with the Rubik's Cube type of thing. On the left, you see that the orange square on the side face looks orange compared to the brown that's on the ground and on top of the square in the middle. But when I cover it, you see that all 3 of those are the same exact color, the same shade of brown. It's just a different perspective. And only in eliminating or like putting a shield over the others, the distraction. So basically, they're like a distraction that prevents us from seeing the actual color, which is on the right of all of them. Now, when I looked at this one here, and you saw that I covered it like with the white covering to show you that they look exactly the same. Also, we could connect it. So like when I connect these 2 here, you might also see it to be the same. But when it gets over to the right, you might be able to see how your perception affects the what you're seeing, reality. You say, wait a minute, the background of that makes it look a little darker than the one on the left. And especially when you eliminate the middle bar, they definitely look different, but you cover it and they're exactly the same. Same goes for this one. I don't know if this one's going to show up as clearly, but when you cover it, you'll see that the two oranges are exactly the same, the two orange slits. There's no difference in the color there. But on this right here, you will say, wait a second, they look different. The one on the right looks a little darker. If I show it in this way, you might be able to see it. The one on the bottom left looks lighter, but it is not. It is the same color as the one on the bottom right. The bottom left, bottom right, same exact color. Now, we can go into another illusion here with the gray. The gray on top, well, I'll show this, I'll save this illusion for a little later. I just wanted to get back to the topic at hand. GP, man, good to see you, man. I have a few more illusions that I do want to show, but in the topic, are we all on Shutter Island? It seems to be. It seems that that's a really deep metaphor, a way of referencing to the movie, that everyone, to some degree, creates stories to avoid facing harsh truths. Their own inner demons, this is what does it. Nobody wants to analyze what's in them. They want to look outside, project sometimes onto somebody else. The painful reality of a situation sometimes is hard to accept. So people go to Shutter Island. And it's an excellent metaphor. I got to give DK a lot of credit for that, man. We really are on Shutter Island. The constructed realities in the movie, main character is the patient in an asylum who creates a sprawling, heroic detective narrative in his own mind to protect himself from his traumatic past. Saying we're all on Shutter Island applies this idea to everyday life, suggesting people frequently build alternative narratives to cope with guilt, denial, or cognitive dissonance. And we see this happening with the guilt. I mean, there's a guy with the channel, it's hilarious, no guilt. Like, I don't want to say the middle word, but yeah, he's brutally coping, in denial, and has a cognitive dissonance, a mental conflict. It's a battle within his mind against another part of his mind. Hence, the movie Revolver we talked about last night has a lot to do with that. The illusion of truth, it implies that we perceive as reality or the truth. Might be a comfortable story we've told ourselves so frequently that we believe it to be true. And this we can see when we observe other people. The raising in our consciousness and awareness is when we can see it in ourselves and grow from that, become smarter, be able to realize that our perception of reality is not what reality actually is. Our perception the problem comes in when our perception becomes stronger than reality. Then we're in a false sense of reality. So when people say false sense of reality, you can apply this and know exactly what it means. These shared human flaws strip away the judgment of sanity versus insanity. That's why I put the picture on the on the thumbnail of everybody on Shutter Island pointing at the cube with different colors on each side. So it's like, are we all on Shutter Island? Different hospital gowns, straight jackets, whatever it may be, but we're seeing a different perspective from each of our angles. Yeah, this is deep, man. And MPC, what's up, brother? He said, instead of treating surface level symptoms, introspection helps you identify the underlying fears, habits, or triggers that create the problem in the first place. Introspection is very important. You're absolutely right, man. Charity, what's up? Good to see you. Always a pleasure having somebody new here. And a lot of people came over from Zach's channel. I always appreciate the stuff that he's done, man. Great guy, really deep on his side with the gematria and other things that he goes into. Now with Shutter Island, we see that okay, it it creates a false sense of reality, or it can create a false sense of reality. The movie was excellent. I mean, it really has you thinking he's a detective. I mean, I wonder myself. It's like I might have to check it again and watch it deeply. There are a few movies that I need to go over. Frailty. Frailty is a deep one, man. Frailty will have you thinking one thing, and at the end, you see that it wasn't what you thought. So, the true meaning, right? What is the true meaning of Shutter Island? At its core, Shutter Island is a tragic psychological story about overwhelming grief, trauma, and the extreme lies our minds tell us. So now, when we look at our mind, we start to say, wait a minute, how could our mind tell us a lie, and an extreme lie at that? Because there's different parts of our mind. When we say, hey, you know, a part of me doesn't want to believe that, or a part of me feels a different way, we have different parts of us that make the combinatory full, well, what we think is the full part of us. But the extreme lies our minds tell us to avoid facing unbearable realities. And that, you know, we see with trauma, like in Shutter Island, the guy who plays Teddy Daniels, which is Leonardo DiCaprio, right? And it's funny because he thinks he's a U.S. Marshal investigating a psychiatric facility on a remote island. However, the shocking twist is that Teddy is not a detective at all. He's actually Andrew Latis, an inmate at the facility classified as patient 67. For anybody, that's the spoiler, but if you want to watch it, it's still a really deep movie. I'm telling you, it's worth watching more than once. The tragedy was that his wife suffered from depression. She was a manic depressive, and she ended her 3 children, and he was devastated, couldn't cope with it, so he ended her. And unbearable to think of that thought, the guilt of his wife's actions and his own role in her death, he completely fractured. He created the alter ego, Teddy Daniels, an anagram of his real name. So now look at that. That is something, because remember what I say about anagrams, how they switch words around, but they tell a truth within the word. Like president is pretend, 2, the same exact letters, 2 meanings, but one tells the truth about the other. It's just pretend. So an anagram of his real name, Andrew Latis, along with an elaborate conspiracy theory about the hospital to blame his pain on external forces. So as we go a little deeper into Shutter Island with the investigation, his entire investigation into the missing patient was actually an elaborate hospital sanctioned role. So this role play therapy, the doctors and his partner, who is actually his primary psychiatrist, Dr. Sheehan, went along with his delusion to force him to confront the truth and cure him. I mean, it's deep. It is deep. Shutter Island has analytical videos like you miss this and that, right? Ending explained, when the truth is too much, you know, the symbolization of it, you know, Teddy's fractured psyche, right? Shutter Island is a full of imagery that is symbolic of that. The lighthouse itself is an element of enlightenment and truth, where Teddy has to face the buried memories inside of him. Now, these don't have to be memories inside of us that we're facing, but it could also be truths that we've been told that we deny. We can see with the illusions that I present, like this one here. I was going to present it before. You look at this and people will argue and say, no, 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 no. Side A is not the same color as side B. This is totally, you got to be out of your mind. But when you connect the colors like I did with this picture, you see that that little strip that connects A to B on the right shows you the top of A and the bottom of B are the exact same shade of gray, the exact same shade. So we see here looks different without the strip. As soon as you connect them with the strip, you start to say, whoa, wait a second. Wait a second. Something's going on. Like here, you think the orange strip on the top, the one on the left is lighter than the one on the right. You think the blue on the left is darker than the blue on the right. But no, it's the same color blue, same color orange. And I've proven this by covering the orange. And we see even with the covering on top, you see them look the same. But on the bottom, the one on the left still looks lighter because I haven't muffled the distraction. Also in this one, we looked at yesterday, I covered it a lot better this time. But when you look on the left, the center square is a light gray and looks a lot lighter than square A in the top of the board. But when they're both, when I cover the distractions on the right, you see that B and A are exactly the same shade of gray, which is, this is shocking. I mean, one of the strongest illusions we see is the orange brown one that I had showed before with the cube. You see that it's the same exact. But looking at these different shapes from different angles, you might see a triangular shadow. Somebody staring from top down sees a circular one. And somebody staring from the left to the right will see a square. But in actuality, we see that this one shape casts all three of those, which should make us question our perception of reality, to let us know, like, hey, you know what? Maybe I don't understand everything. You know, the human mind is beyond complicated. It is many different things. We don't know totally what it is. I mean, what is the mind? What are we? I've said it many times. I don't know what I am. I don't know who I am. I don't know where I am. And I don't know when I am. You know, what time is it? What's that song? Does anybody really know what time it is? Does anybody really care about time? You should listen to that song by Chicago. I think he starts off saying, I was walking down the street one day. And I think it was a lady that asked them what time it is. And that's when he starts with the chorus line. Does anybody really know what time it is? Does anybody really care? Now, who in that sentence, who does really know what time it is? What is it based on? Right? Alexis, good to see you. He says, why is Clavicular, Nick, and the rest of these puppets constantly pushing the hate? That is something that's deep inside of them. And we already see they're deep in Shutter Island. They are in Shutter Island, and that's all they push. That's all they've ever pushed. They try to mask it under the disguise of something else, like looks and the dating theory. But no, we realize that they're on Shutter Island, and they're looking for the other people to join them. And they get people to join them. We've seen on the other channel how many people flock to that. I mean, they enjoy Shutter Island. They sit back and go watch a movie on Shutter Island. Look at all the sports things. Sports can only be broadcasted from Shutter Island. That metaphor is something that I'm going to use a lot. Shutter Island, I got to thank DK, man, if he comes on tonight. DK Stonewood, I think it is. I put credit to him in the description for that. Really appreciate it. Sig, what's up, bro? Uncommon Truth Shaman, good to see you, brother. He says, Max Doubt provides a dude like me on the East Coast dependable, entertaining, and absolute quality content for the late evening. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, as well. I really appreciate that. And I dig the name, man. Uncommon Truth Shaman. That is definitely it, man. It really, yeah, thinking, you know, life is humorous. That's why I've always liked to have fun. It's not because life is humorous, but I just like to have fun. And Osho made a good point. He goes, when I've said it before, he's never seen a tree that is serious. You don't see a serious tree, a serious wave. Does the moon or the sun ever look serious? No, it's just there. So I don't think life wants me to be serious. I mean, he broke it down. He definitely broke it down. Osho, of course, he did have the cult like following. But like I said, that guy has a lot of knowledge. I mean, the government just attacked him. The government was mad at him because he was freeing people's minds. Of course, yes, they did have a compound in Oregon. And the funny thing was they couldn't stand him because he had like 90 Rolls Royces that were donated to him by rich people that embraced his philosophy. And he would say, look, I have 10 Rolexes, I have 90 Rolls Royces, but no bank account. No bank account. Other people would just give him these things and they would be so mad. It's like somebody lending you their Rolls Royce, paying for everything. You don't got to worry about it. Here, just drive it. Matter of fact, I'll even give you money for gas. So you don't ever have to worry about the tax on it. GP says, just because one gets lots of information doesn't mean it's real information. Exactly. Not all information is true. Exactly. Some information is senseless. They say, hey, so-and-so went to the bathroom. Who cares? That's Twitter. That's Twitter. Twitter started like that. And you got to be a twit to be on Twitter, a twit. Basically, it was like them making fun of it. Mr. X, good to see, says, let's go. He said, let's go. Lots of fake rich here in Miami. Yeah, man, I could imagine. The amount of fraudulent fakes. Miami is basically Shutter Island. Everybody, it's just another branch of Shutter Island, without a doubt. It totally is. It totally is, man. But when we look at like this picture here, the orange on the left looks brighter than the one on the right. But when I cover them, we see that they're exactly the same color. Again, taking us out of Shutter Island. We're seeing the truth. And then when people cope, they're like, no, with the background, which is the distraction, saying, no, the one on the left is lighter than the one on the right. It's like, no, I got to bring you off Shutter Island, man. I got to show you that, boom, you was on Shutter Island right here. Hence this one too. This is actually a really good one because the pink square on the right looks darker than the pink square on the left. But when you cover them, they're exactly the same color, straight Shutter Island once again. So that's what it is. It's always been that way. What can I really say? It's just basically trying to show people like, look, man, we might be seeing something and think it's one thing when it's something totally different. And the metaphor of are we on the island, on Shutter Island to be exact, because we know the connotation that just the word the island has. So we'll be more specific, Shutter Island. Yeah, man. Yeah, we are always like trying to figure out what veil is in front of reality. There's always another veil. Like in the Wizard of Oz, they pull back the curtain, and when they pull back the curtain on the Wizard of Oz, they see that there's this old man pulling gears and levers to create an illusion. He's the guy creating the Shutter Island. But Shutter Island is also created in the minds of people. So that's another thing too. Somebody can put us on Shutter Island, but like I said before, our mind is so powerful, we can think through anything. This is why they're always distracting us from thinking. They don't want us to think. It's dangerous to their form of control because thinking is a way out. The cage that holds our mind, the cage is made of thoughts and it's preconceived notions. They're made of the expectations of others. When we don't care about the expectation of others, those bars disappear on the cage that covers our mind. But the last line in Shutter Island, Which would be worse, to live as a monster or to die as a good man? It signifies the protagonist, tragic, the protagonist's tragic realization of his past and his conscious, heartbreaking choice to undergo a lobotomy rather than live with the crushing guilt of his reality. So that's like really crazy, man. The fact that they would even bring in the L word, the lobotomy. We know that that is like, man, when I look at modernization, the Western medical system, it is, I really, I come at a loss for words on the brutality of it. I really do. I come to be like, man, this is monstrous. But the monster, Andrew Lattice, his real name, would have to live every day fully conscious of the fact that he was too negligent to get his maniac depressive or manic depressive wife help, which directly resulted in her murdering their 3 children in the movie. So to die as a good man, because he can't bear this. Andrew can't bear it. The devastating truth. He chooses to maintain the delusion, believing he is the heroic U.S. Marshal. He accepts the lobotomy as mental death. It essentially wipes his memory, allowing him to be erased and cease to exist as a sinner. Now, I don't agree with that. I think that, hey, if you're going to have to live as a monster, you live as the monster. I'd rather somebody hate me for who I am than love me for who I am not. And that's a hard road to walk. That path is dark and dreary. It has potholes. It's not the yellow brick road, and it doesn't lead to Oz. It leads to reality, and reality is brutal. But I'm already the monster. I've always been the monster. You have to be able to be a monster, right? To actually be good. Because if you're not a monster and you say you're good, you're not good. You're harmless. You're basically harmless. If you don't have the capability to be the warrior, well, then when you're not being the warrior, right? How are you being good? Because you can't even do anything if something were to happen. And we're kind of in that position against the government. The government is like a brutal entity, a big monster, that it's like in Kill Bill when he says, "You are the worm trying to fight the eagle." Man, that saying was brutal, but it had reality to it. GP says, yeah, on the feet, man. But in a way, I think we live, like Henry David Thoreau said, we live quiet lives of quiet desperation. It's like a low-grade depression. And again, I think we're on Shutter Island when we think that we're on our feet, because we're really crawling right now, man. We ain't, pay taxes, man, from our knees, not from our feet. And thinking we're on our feet is Shutter Island. It's definitely being on shut. Does the government ever do any good? For example, when hurricanes and tornadoes disaster happen, doesn't the government help protect people and rebuild? So in that aspect, is the government needed? Well, that's if they're not causing the hurricanes and tornadoes and tornadoes. Did they help people after Hurricane Katrina? And I think, in my opinion, that they created that. Like, they have the technology, in my opinion. Look up what the name Katrina means: to clean, to purify, right? So look, what areas did it purify, right? If you look up about Katrina, it's brutal. The government, somebody said, the government works in this way. They break your leg and then they give you crutches and say, you see, if you didn't have us, you wouldn't have crutches. So with the tornadoes and hurricanes, I personally think, in my opinion, that they've had weather modification devices. Some people call it conspiracy, whatever, but I would say they've had that for a long time, early 1900s. And you see the patent that I showed for the trails, for the fog generators, fog and mist generators that mount on planes from 1920. That's when that patent was granted. I think it was filed in 1917. So I think any good that we're seeing is an illusion of somebody trying to make us think that they're good when they're really robbing us, because government takes your money and says they can do stuff with your money that's better for you. Well, okay, then why don't we get free food, and why don't we get free health care and free schooling? We see other countries with that, right? That are not as rich as the US. So in our face, we see that they're lying. So government, people wonder, well, what will we do without government? Well, we could live freely. We'd have to actually not be lazy and say, look, we're going to have to take care of this ourselves, which lets you realize just how much goes into creating a village, a town, a city, a country. It's a big undertaking. Retro, good to see you, man. Nice. Greetings again. Good evening all around. Yes, brother. Always, man. Shutter Island, man. Broadcasting straight from Shutter Island. That's, I used to say broadcasting from the psychiatric ward called Planet Earth, but now it's broadcasting from Shutter Island. And you know, when I think about the whole story of this, it's not a true story according to some, but you never know. You never know. They say the real Boston Harbor Islands, the fictional Shutter Island, was heavily inspired by the geography and history of the Boston Harbor Islands, based on the setting on Long Island, which historically housed a hospital, a drug addiction treatment center, and military installations. Well, what do you know? Look at here. Real institutional history, while Ashcliffe's is fictional in Shutter Island. Real islands in the Boston Harbor, such as Long Island and Rainsford Island, were used to isolate people. So the movie isn't as fictional as people think it is. It houses everything from quarantine stations to almshouses to prisons and medical facilities. I mean, this is Shutter Island on steroids when you look at the Boston Harbor Islands. The hurricane, the massive storm that traps the characters on the island, that part was inspired by childhood memories of the devastating 1978 blizzard of the Northeast. So that's just a couple of facts I wanted to bring out about Shutter Island, you know. And you know, when you think about it, it's like we tend to fly back there. You know, my original name for Shutter Island was Fantasy Island. People would buy a one-way first class ticket back to Fantasy Island anytime you brought up something that would bother their comfortable lie that they lived in. They would say, no, this is why. They would rationalize. So rationalization, we know the problems with that, right? So we'll look into breaking down the meaning, the constructed realities. So that the rationalization. So in the movie, the main character is a patient, right, in an asylum, the heroic detective, right, and so we start to see that he had already compartmentalized part of himself. The illusion of truth implied that we perceive as reality or the truth might not be a comfortable. It might just be a comfortable story. So it's not reality. It's, you know, basically Yellow Brick Road to M City, putting on the glasses, then realize it was all created by the Wizard of Oz. We told ourselves so frequently that we believe it to be true. The shared human flaws. It strips away the judgment of sanity versus insanity, like we said before. Shutter Island, and I would think there's other ones too that are kind of deep. Mr. X, good to see you, man.
Good to see you, MD. Hey, I know. I just want to mention, you know, I like these pictures you're bringing up about, especially at last stream about the cylinder and how one person sees a circle, the other one sees a cube, you know, but in the other dimension, let's just say, they see the whole cylinder. And yeah, I think we should continue with that, or you know, you yourself, because I think you're doing a great job. Because we got to look at, everybody says that fourth dimension is the dimension of time. And maybe we're like, say like somebody like that being in the two-dimensional space, when he looks at a cube, he only sees a line. He only sees one side of the cube. He doesn't see the height of the cube. But of course, we in the third dimension can see the whole cube. We can see the length, width, and height, something he can't see. And I think on the fourth dimension, maybe we only see time in one way going forward. We know it can slow down. We know it can speed up. That's about it. But there's another, maybe on that fourth dimension, we can see the measurement of time. That's what some people speculate, some videos I've watched. And maybe that's where we're on that flat plane. Is our flat plane, just like the two-dimensional optics, flat plane of the cube, which is only a line. That's how we see time, only in a line. But time is something different than what we perceive it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that.
The time definitely is something that I don't think we have a full comprehension of. Like I was saying, that we know for a fact, if we were to study it, that the present moment seems to either be witnessing time pass by, creating the past, or creating the past from the present moment. So in increments, possibly. And when we look at that, either way, if time is flowing past us, which is what it seems to be,
right,
then where is it flowing from? See, that's the thing. So it could be flowing from a forward event that already exists, and then that could keep going forward. There could be an infinity. I think somebody told me they showed that in the movie The Mothman Prophecies. There was a moment where he showed him his whole life, and it was like frames in a video spread out, seeing it from birth all the way to death. So the life was like a timeline from a video editing program, in a way, where you can see it. I've been trying to find that clip when somebody told me that, because there's many different Mothman movies. There's a good few.
They also say when a lot of people with death experiences, they see their life, near-death experiences, say they come back and see their life flash before their eyes.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the spirit entering that fourth dimension now.
I mean, it's possible. Zach is on us, bro, with the Jesuits. What's up, brother?
We got the Jesuits covered, man. They get away with nothing over Zach, that's for sure.
You see the comment, man? Zach is so cool. He says that object is the Jesuits. I don't see how it is, but if you want to tell us, brother,
it's all good.
Was welcome to come on. They've infiltrated so many things. Different people blame the different things they infiltrated without seeing the object for what it is. I mean, I would say, yeah, if you want to explain it, because when I look at it like the object, right? Not only are we looking at this object, like how, like, you see what I'm saying? The Jesuit view is seeing it from one side, you see the square. Now somebody else is saying, wait, but it's a triangle, and then the person seeing it from top down is saying it's a circle. But now combining that is letting them say, wait a second, this object is some type of what can cast a triangle, square, and circle simultaneously? You know, like
light. Would it be light?
Well, no, I'm saying the light from certain angles. You know, if you don't allow the light to cast a shadow, you won't be able to make this assumption. Kind of like with this one, to say this one's a little easier. You say, okay, we got two light sources. One person seeing the reflection as a circle, the other as a cube. So we speculate and we say, okay, scientific test, let's make shapes, let's cast shadows, let's see what we get. And this a cylinder does that, right? So now when we go to the next step, like we were saying with the shape that casts three shadows, this same shape has been done in this picture here on the bottom right, and it shows how we can cast even 6 shadows when you look at it through certain angles. So you can see a little difference. So now we start to see how now, with those things, if somebody were to say, well, I'm seeing it, but it's not a triangle, it's a triangle like on the bottom right with like a circular bottom to it and a point, sort of like a droplet, a teardrop type of thing. And then somebody else might say, well, I see the square with the circle on the top middle, so as we add this, we get a better picture of what it could be.
You know what I'm thinking of when I look at that? It's like when light casts its shadow on an object, but when you view it from different angles, just like you said, I'm repeating basically what you said, you see a different shape, a different form. I
Yeah.
wonder if we could do the same thing with time somehow,
Yeah,
with light.
that in theory that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Zach says Messi made World Cup history today. You know, honestly, bro, and this is embarrassing for me. I don't know who Messi is. I'm
I know
assuming.
who he is because he makes a cologne. I
What,
like to try on different colognes, and
what
I
is
guess
he?
he's the best soccer
Soccer player?
player.
A soccer player?
I guess he's the best. That's my understanding.
Oh, you know what? I think Scribe mentioned him last month to me because we were talking about that other guy, Cristano or something. Cristano, supposed to be a really good soccer player. Um, but he says, yeah, this Messi, that's the guy I think he messing. All
I guess he's
roads
the
lead to
best.
Rome, and the
Yeah.
Jesuits run Rome. Zach says, about the shape, one shadow is the Masons, another is Israel, and another is the United States. The driving force behind all the Jesuits. That's what I'm saying. Okay, that's what you're saying. What we're saying is what you're everything you're saying here, that the Masons and the United States and everything that you're saying is your perspective, which is excellent research, but it's only showing one.
Right.
Because you can't see it from all three sides. Now, from your side, and then this is the way I'm trying to explain it as like correctly, not to put my opinion or anything on it, to say there's no way one person can see this from all three sides. Now, I know what you're implying. It's
Unless they're in another dimension. Unless
well,
they're in another
what the
dimension.
difference is saying that one shadow is the Jesuits, the other shadow is Israel, the other shadow is America. But one person cannot do that. You see, so it's like you can only see it from your position. And from your position, like let's say it's the triangle that you're seeing, right? On one side of your triangle, you're saying it's the Jesuits. The other side is America. The other side is Israel. So your thing is saying, hey, I'm seeing this. Somebody seeing it from the other side that sees the square might say,
Sure.
hey, you know what? It's that, and another thing. The
Mhm.
person seeing it from the top is going to say, hey, I see it, but they're all connected in like this circle. So you see, your position is seeing it from the angle, like from what you said, the triangle. So the triangle is saying, hey, this this is the three things, and this is what I'm saying it is. Uh,
Right. And I was just looking at that. You said there was a I try to remember there's a triangle, a square, and what was that other object there?
a circle.
A circle. Now, let's say another being outside of the dimension of what we see
Mhm.
can say to one group, I need you to build a triangle. And to the other group, you build a square. And to another group, you build the circle. And the other groups, they don't know how to build one part of it, but together they create that object. Now they may not be able to see that object, but that other being outside of their dimension is instructing them to build each side of that object without them really understanding what they're building.
I don't really follow you, but
Well, it's just like something at a higher level could build that object. See, because the people who only see one side of the object only can build like a triangle if they're looking at it
well,
in
they're
one view.
building what they're building is right.
Hmm.
This is what they're building. I'll put the picture up again. And Samuel, thank you. Yes, collaboration is the key to see the entire shape. You cannot see the entire shape without the
Hmm.
collaboration. And if every human on the planet put this stuff together, there would still be something that's always unseen. That's the
Exactly.
a harsh reality to accept, which can keep somebody on Shutter Island.
Hmm.
Zach says the head of the Federal Reserve died today, 143 days from the Superior General's birthday. Federal Reserve 143. Wow. This stuff goes on every single day. Evidence is all I can rely on. No, you're absolutely right, bro. Your mathematical gematria skills, I don't know anybody who's on your level, bro, with that. But
Absolutely.
again, your level is seeing it from the left going to the shadow on the right. So and yours is, you have so much information, put it together, you're casting the perfect triangle. So like
Hmm.
Mr. Rex is saying, how would they build this? Well, the people on the left that would make it cast that shadow, if you notice, the left side of this is a triangular shape. The bottom of this is flat. So even though it curves in, it's still flat. So it will reflect the flat line. And the two other lines we see of the top sides of the triangle are flat as well. So it reflects that. But now the people on the bottom, they created a circular face.
Hmm.
So now that circular face goes as if you were taking a cylinder or that ring and putting it from the bottom and scraping off going upward. So now the two sides remain triangular, right? And now you have a cylinder. Now to get the square reflection going to the left side of the green wall, you would have to now cut that top piece to where it has that flat top. The bottom is already flat from the triangle. And then the two sides are already straight of the triangle because when you look at it from that position, you get the four sides of the square. So the people that built it from that position carved it that way. You know what? I'm going to try to make an animation of this for tomorrow. I'll use uh,
Hmm.
I still got some credits on the thing. See, that's the greatness of the animation programs. So like Zachary has excellent information. The gematria is part of the puzzle. Clearly, it's the truth about it. We have other parts too. You have stuff. I have stuff. Um,
Hmm.
People that come on the stream have brought up some very important stuff. Matter of fact, DK, the reason I called the stream today, are we all on Shutter Island? I mean, that was when he said that.
Hmm.
When he said we're all on Shutter Island, that was hilarious last night. That game because I knew exactly. I was like, I had to like kind of research it more. I had to research it some more. I give him a lot. Seeing this piece right here, this object, I forgot the name of it, is doing this right here. We're
Hmm.
creating the third mind, right? The two people are creating the third mind, which they're seeing. They're saying what they see, and they say, "Oh, wait, it's a cylinder." And that's the only way to do it. To say, "Wait a second." When I look at this picture here, the pink on the right, the square that's inside of the gray square, that pink looks darker than the pink square on the left.
Right.
But when I cover the thing, you see that they're both exactly the same color, right?
But isn't it a commonality that it's light? It's really the way the light is reflected on the color that's
No,
making the optical illusion.
it's not the light reflected. The same light is reflected on both colors. It is the contrast, the
Hmm.
distraction that is behind the color. The gray
Got it.
distraction is making it, it shows us how things are connected. So the
Hmm.
gray contrast makes it look darker, and the red contrast makes it look lighter because it's on that tonal scale more to the red. So it gives that effect. Now, when we cover it with the translucent white, we see them both for what they are. And what is the white covering doing? It's muting the distraction. It's lessening the distortion, the effect that those other two colors have on it. So, like the gray, when I showed you the thing yesterday, I made it better here.
Right.
The middle square on the left and the top square have the same gray value, but they look, the one in the middle looks totally lighter, but on the
Yeah,
right,
it looks white to me. At first, it looks white. Yeah.
okay, now look on the right when I cover everything but those two squares, they're exactly the same color,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
So we see that. Now, if we look at another example similar to that with the
Hmm.
grayscale, the top where the letter A is looks like it's a totally different color than the bottom where the B is, right?
Yes, absolutely. One
Now,
looks
somebody,
gray, one looks white.
they would bet on that. But now, if I take a strip of color, let's just say I took a paintbrush,
Hmm.
touched A, and just stretched it down to B, it would look like this right here. So you see that little strip that goes from A to B now on the right?
Right.
Now it's the same color gray, right? Showing you that gray on the top is the same exact color as the gray on the bottom, but because of the contrast around it is why it's creating the image like this, where it looks different. So this right here is Shutter Island. You know, this is, you're not seeing reality right here. You're actually now, and this is crazy because no matter how hard I try, I'm not going to see B as dark as I see A.
No, me neither. Can't do it.
This little line on the right here in this picture, where now you see them connected. That's the only way.
Now, what's that line? Is that but it looks like the line's colored gray.
Yeah, I took Sketchbook. I put this picture in Sketchbook here, right now to check it. Anybody can take a screenshot of this, and you take this picture and you put it in Sketchbook. So now this is in Sketchbook. Now there's a tool where you can tap the gray color on top, or any color on this thing, and it will clone that color. So like, say I wanted to paint the sky behind it white, right? I could touch the white part of the cube and press a different thing, and it will color the sky in the back white. So I can sort of take the color from there and put it somewhere else. So when I touch that, now it's on a paintbrush, and I slide it down to see, is that gray on top the same color as the gray on the bottom? And when I did that, I stretched it down, and this is the picture here. And this shows you that they're exactly the same color.
Wow.
So, and now with the other one, I did it easier. What I did, I took the overlay. I said, let me take a translucent white. I cut out the little things with the tool they have. Now you see they're exactly the same color. The same thing with this picture here. The bottom left orange slit looks lighter, but they're all the same color. It looks lighter than the one on the bottom left, looks lighter than the one on the bottom right. But on top, when I cover them, you see that they're both exactly the same color.
So it's the contrast of the background that changes the color, or perception of the color.
In some instances.
Some instances.
Yeah, I don't want to say 100%, you know, because again, there's more stuff to do. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you know this to be true. It's like there's going to be stuff that we know, and then there's going to be stuff that we're never going to know. And that's just part of reality. You just will not know that. Now, and I hear what Zach is saying, because he has immense knowledge. So he's saying, okay, I got everything. You know what the good thing is that he's got everything under what he's saying. Okay, this is what I got that accounts for everything. Now, we know we can't account for everything, but the good thing is the attempt to do that, because you get as much as you can get together. Even though there's going to be stuff that, you know, is missing, you at least push it to that limit. So he has a very high limit with the numbers, with the amount of time. I mean, this guy is like on a high level. I mean, he said he's been streaming since 2013 or something nonstop. I give him a lot of credit for that.
Great job.
When I looked at his channel, it's from 2022. He's got like over 3,000 videos. He's got it. You got to be pushing out like 800 videos a year, like 2 a day, or more than 2 a day. More than 2 a day. I mean, that right there is discipline. That is some serious stuff. Nobody can deny that. That me just trying to stream once a night is freaking, it's tough. You know, I was debating tonight, and I said, you know, I got to at least do this whole month, because I started around May 4th, I think. So I didn't do the whole month of May, but once I started, I just kept going till we are today. So once this does it, you know, the whole month of June, if I can finish that, some of May. But the fact that Zach has, like, I mean, this guy streams 2-3 times a day, stuff like that, and he's constantly on the knowledge. So his knowledge in that area is creating the solid sides of the triangle, because it's like somebody else might create the triangle shape, but you might have gaps in it. You can still make out it's a triangle, but it's not, you know, it's like if you made a dotted line or a dashed line. So you can still see it, but it's not fully complete. Zach's research is very, very complete in what he does the research in.
Sure.
Other people might have stuff that they, oh, I got this theory, whatever, but it's not really as complete. And you see that with guys like Zach, myself, a few others that do research in some areas. We have an expertise in our area, but then, we have a deficiency in another area. So it was like when T-Raf hooked it up, donated, supported the channel, and he was saying, yeah, but you have more knowledge. And I understand T-Raf is cool. We've been learning together for a while now. I think he remembers us from the other channel, and he supports. The brother's real. And
But this isn't a competition. It's a co-op. It's a co-op.
It's not a competition, exactly. So, and then Zach brought that up, and I'm glad he did. Because it's like, hey, everything's cool, and you have specialties in one area. I have specialties in another area, but his discipline is immense. I mean, I have to say that to be, in the decade before us, because we're practically the same Gen X. For him to be like, I would say, early millennial or very, very late gen. Like Scribe is an extremely, he's right on the borderline for late Gen X. So he's still like within that decade range with us. So Zach could be like late Gen X, early millennial, but regardless what he is, he could be Gen X, whatever. His research speaks for itself.
And I think to be a true Gen Xer, you have to be a teenager in the 80s. I think to be a true Gen Xer.
Yeah, but he I thank him, man. I mean, for all the stuff he's done, helped the channel come on.
Oh yeah, no, he's been great. He's been great, and I respect his views because he backs it up with data.
Many stuff. He educated me on many stuff. I mean, the dates, the September 11th for the Pentagon being built, I think in 47. That's crazy. The 911 thing. The only thing is when it comes to the Jesuit thing. I just don't see, I can understand acknowledging, okay, that's a group or something like that. But maybe I'm just not seeing it. Like, what is
I guess I see it like the Jesuits are the front. You know what I mean? They're the front for covering something else.
Well,
you know what I mean?
No, what I'm saying is, I think, all right, let me make it clearer. It's like, if you tell me Rockefellers or Rothschild, I'm just like, okay, what do I do with that? You know what I'm saying? I'm okay. We know, right? But what is? I want to know. Okay, if that's it, then what do we do? It's sort of like, hey, the water, they're polluting. What do? We filter it. The food is being sprayed. What do we do? Organic. Okay. The Jesuits, the Rockefeller, all of this. All right. What do we do? What's the reason? Like, is it just this is what it is? Which that's good too. To say, okay, that's what it is. So we know now. Okay, that's one shadow that's being reflected. Whether they're playing puppets with us, when somebody makes their hand into certain figures to where the shadow was casted on the wall and they do shadow puppets type of thing.
Right.
What if they're doing something like that, like shadow puppets? So we're seeing this stuff that's happening, saying, oh, it goes back to this country, to this country, to this country. But really what we saw happen during the pandemic was there was no countries. Nobody, there was no disagreement about the magic potion.
No. That's right.
So it's like, what happened to the countries? It's just like see, that's a good example to show the hoax of countries in comparison to the hoax of when they were saying, oh, the weather, the warmness, right? And we couldn't even, they were censoring people hard, just the way they were censoring them with the magic potion.
Yes.
Same thing with saying the climate, right? So now the data centers, they're like, nobody cares. So it shows you the hoax that was. And if you called it a hoax, they would get angry. Like I would, people would get censored. I don't know if they're still censoring it. That's why I haven't made any videos on it. I said, let me stay within the guidelines.
Yeah, right. I agree.
Yeah, I'll touch upon certain subjects, but you have to do it in a certain way. It's all about the delivery. But funny enough, that just disappeared. Funny enough, the climate, hey, it's cool now, and now these surveillance centers, because again, the language matters. They're not data centers, they're surveillance centers. They're you have to put that word in there. Letter carriers, right? Rome never ended, and Rome Rome was just a raising up of Greece, and Greece was Egypt, and Egypt was all of the others. I don't even know if Sumer is as old as Egypt, because they want Sumer to be older. Remember, there's no way for them to really date this stuff. You have to go through certain like historical methods, and then you're still kind of teeter-tottering. So that's why it's like, okay, in the midst of that and knowing that, and that's, straight up, because it's empirical. We can see, what's there and what's not there. Now we got to deal with people that constantly lie to us. And then the zombies that parrot what they lie. Hey, they said this. Like we see it with evolution. It's a perfect
Yes.
example. The zombies, they create that false narrative. The zombies will use the nag factor, like a child in a supermarket that's having a tantrum on the floor so the parent can buy them their treat.
That's right.
Man. And it's like it gets to a point where we're the ones that are mature enough mentally. The people in the chat, the people that come on the stream, the people that listen to it. Because the content opens them, the content more than just opens the mind, it lets somebody know how to use a method to figure out how to improve, how to shield your mind, how to increase your perception of reality by working with other people, creating the third mind, the fourth mind, multiple, holographic or just thought. And like other channels, like Zachary's channel does a lot on the numbers part. So he's looking at it from that direction, the triangle direction.
Yes.
I'm looking at it from the square direction. Somebody else is looking at it from the circle. And like we saw on the other picture that I showed you, this one here, I found it today because I remember you wanted to see some of this stuff in the bottom right. You see, it's the same picture as the one in the bottom left, but it's showing like 45-degree angles as well, not just straight.
There you go.
Yeah, so you're seeing like this looks a little bit different. So now you see the circle, I see the square, Zach sees the triangle, but other people, DK sees the teardrop, somebody else sees that, and they're like, okay, now we're getting so much information, we can figure out what the object is. And the object that we're looking for is reality. So, Zach is seeing that side, I'm seeing this side, you're seeing that side.
Right.
And that each of us has a different perspective.
But when we're looking at that cylinder, we're seeing the cylinder. But if there's a fourth dimension, there's another dimension to that cylinder that we can't see. It's blind to us.
The fourth dimension, the reason
of the cylinder.
Well, the reason it's not seen is that when we're observing this from the triangle, the square, the circular side to see the shadow in that image, the time that's going by when we're looking through that is like, that is what it is. It's not something that you're going to see. It's like an emotion. It's something that you feel. So now, and this is another thing that we forget, like how we know that, okay, it's easy to forget we're living not just in the physical, but also in the non-physical at the same time. So we're physical, non-physical at the same time, and also emotional, logical. And then there's other things that we don't know. So there's always going to be that little bit of don't know that's there, but we can, for the most part, figure out, okay, this is what I think it is. And that's the beauty of it, that once we stop trying to move forward, we could end up in Shutter Island, could end up Fantasy Island, Truman Show. You look at the Truman Show when he was just living in the Truman Show. That's, somebody can go back to that. A sleepwalker, autopilot, comfort zoner. They might as well just scoot around while they sit in the couch. And that's what that movie, I think, Wall-E was about, where people were, it's a cartoon. I don't know if you've ever seen clips of it, where everybody is sitting in like a single sofa and they're overweight and they're just being fed junk food and playing video games.
I think I saw a clip of that.
Yeah.
I saw a clip of that.
Right? It's like a mobile chair.
Yeah, it was a cartoon like type thing.
I remember I went to a raw food seminar back in like '03, and the dude David Wolf, we were talking, and he goes, he goes, people need to be outdoors more. He goes, have like wind baths, like, and I used to experience that when the wind blows by you when you're a kid, and you feel, like, wow, this feels great. Um, that he says people stay in what he would call, like, if you're inside, that's the cave. He goes,
Mhm.
they get in a portable cave to go to another cave. He goes, they're always in, it's not, and I think about that in comparison to when I was a teenager and when I was like an adolescent, like going places, walking a lot, going to play, walking, and being like, man, to get there, you got to walk until you got old enough to get a car, which I did get a car when I was young. It's still a teenager, but
Mhm.
it showed me what David Wolf was saying made a lot of sense. I was like, yeah. He goes, yeah, man. People need to eat more raw food. He was a full raw food. I do think that you got to cook some foods, but
Well, it's not like I can't eat raw food, like lettuce and stuff, because of my situation with my
yeah, you have certain
intestines.
situations, because I've seen people who couldn't eat certain raw things, like
Yeah, I had to stop eating lettuce altogether because I guess I have some scar tissue from operations and radiation treatments.
yeah, some of
So
the stuff.
yeah,
Also, it could be that the lettuce has something on it, usually a bacteria, because
yeah.
it's very hard to, get that stuff fully clean. And it's really counting on your immune system to kill off some of the stuff that is going to be there. Uh,
Hmm.
that alone, when you think about just the whole like search to try to figure out what to eat and all of that, it just shows us that we don't have the instruction booklet. We're like it's kind of like the greatest American superhero when he didn't have the instruction for the Superman suit, and then from testing it out, he would always crash when he flew. But I think he figured out how to fly because he took 3 steps and jumped, and that was like the suit had instructions like that he lost at the beginning of the sitcom. So the whole sitcom was him trying to figure out the suit. You know, um, DJ Stonewood. Oh yeah, brother, I put it on the in the description. I put thanks to you for the credit, to the stream for the idea. Are we all on Shutter Island? When you said we're all on Shutter Island, you're right too, man. We definitely try to
You
come
know,
later. Nazis had islands that were test centers for their mind control operation. Yeah, they even had a town, Long Island, New York, that was
mhm.
straight
Montauk, right? Montauk.
no, Yaphank.
Oh
But
yeah.
Montauk too. But Yapank was another one, and they I think there's a documentary on it on YouTube. Yeah, yeah. So and it was also it was restricted. It was an all white town, where you look at that and it's crazy. It's
I
really
think they have an insane asylum. Old rundown. It's not there anymore, but the remnants are there on one of the islands off of New York. I have to look it up. I saw a
yeah.
documentary about it.
New York is a big asylum. New
Oh
York
yeah,
is
of course.
straight. Yeah, it's straight Shutter Island, man. This is straight Shutter Island. So you talk to people that yeah, straight Shutter Island, man. And
I
that
think they had. Oh, they had some type of disease. They were quarantined. Maybe that was it.
yeah.
I can't
And
remember.
there was another one with Michael Ironside, a movie that was very close to Shutter Island. Michael
I
Ironside.
think it was based on a true story. Not true story, but like it really did exist. I have to look at that.
Oh, Patient Seven. Patient. Yeah.
Patient.
Well, when I was reading off earlier, they had the it is inspired by the Boston Harbor Islands, and
Okay,
the
that's it.
Boston
Yeah.
Harbor Islands had prisons, psychiatric wards, like a few type of isolation things. So when you look at America, you see the real. I mean, this is probably the country is over 50% psych ward. Easy, easy,
Yes.
easy. But Michael Ironside had a movie he acted in that was kind of like Shutter Island in a way, called Patient Seven. And he was the psychiatrist. And then it came to be later on that he was the patient posing as the psychiatrist. So That one was pretty deep with that. It was a psychological horror thriller, um, where the psychiatric, the psychiatrist at the mental hospital is replaced by the patient. And honestly, when you look in politics, that's what we see today.
Yeah.
That's what we see today, man. Mariko, good to see you. She says, I used to learn from David Wolf in LA back in the 2000s. Now I do medical medium protocols, life saving for me. Strong Island, native here. Wow. Wow. Good to hear from you. Yeah. Strong Island. I'm a hop, skip, and a jump away, right here in the borough. Uh, yeah, David Wolf. I met him 4 times maybe, because I went to the seminar with a good friend of mine, Dr. Lodi. He's a medical doctor, and we were both vegetarians at the time. I remember I had heard about him through Gary Null, which is a PhD researcher. And then Tom and I became really cool. We just hit it off. And he told me David Wolf was going to be in Manhattan. This was 2003. I think it was in the summer. And we paid, I think it was like $150 for 2 days. It was a 2-day seminar. So we went the first day. Dave gave a lecture, chilled out, spoke with him a little. And then the next day I went, and then he was, it was definitely, they were selling, their supplements and stuff like that. But I still have, like, I think I bought like 2 or 3 books, like one with like yoga poses, like stretches and stuff, that like if you stretch a certain way, it'll like it can clear your nostril. It can, blood will flow, certain ways. There's different. There's so much about the human body again, but yeah, thank you. Definitely medical medium protocols. I don't know what that is, but I'll look it up. Um yeah, Dave. I mean, I think that there are many foods that there there's no way you're going to eat them cooked. It would be ridiculous, like a cucumber. Why would you cook, something like that? Now, there are some that I see people bake, pineapple, stuff like that. I mean, I would rather eat it raw, so the pineapple, many fruits, an orange. I'm not trying to cook an orange. I ate one earlier. Sometimes I go a while without fruit. And I remember when I used to live that lifestyle, eating a lot of the healthy stuff and, raw, organic. And if I did eat, like pasta, or I didn't really eat a lot of pasta back then, but I was very conscious about what I ate. And even though I'm not a raw vegan, I only did that for a very short period. And veganism was a little easier because you could at least eat cooked food, vegetable broth and stuff like that. Um, but then vegetarian, a little more, you could eat some eggs, and whether it's lacto avo and stuff like that. I remember on my old channel, I had a video with me with a table of like vegetables and stuff of what I juiced. And that guy, Jay Cordich, the juice man, had left a comment. I think he passed a few years ago. Really cool guy. Yeah. So the diet, what you eat is extremely important, because it's going to affect your behavior. And that's the thing. Like Dr. Russell Blaylock was talking about how food, certain additives, and especially preservatives, which he wrote a book about excitotoxins, they affect our behavior.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I actually read something today. Because they ordered something online, that irritable bowel syndrome can also cause anxiety and depression. I had no clue that the gut could play that kind of role in our mental health too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, again, Shutter Island, man, patient 7. People are
Mhm.
patient 7, and to the point where, it just, yeah. Jesus says, bad food makes me lazy and depressed. Yeah, man. Yeah, the junk food is it's a crime. It's a crime. Dr. Russell Blaylock, when he wrote Excitotoxins, The Taste That Kills, I remember it was like maybe 15 years ago. He's got like an interview when he's younger, and he's like saying, he's like, look, you know, there's producing more people with low IQ, less people with high IQ. So it's creating idiocracy in real time through these additives. And some of the primary offenders are like monosodium glutamate, aspartame, hydrolyzed vegetable proteins, the soy protein extract. And this is in my opinion, but anybody can look it up. Yeast extract, which contains hidden glutamates. I mean, the food, the processed food system is like it's like a chemistry lab. It's definitely some chemistry lab creation. You know, health implications. Blaylock was talking about that. Overconsumption. It's like how they would say you can't just eat one Lay's chips. You know, I was a potato chip crackhead. You know, that chips are so addictive. They have entire aisles of just chips.
Yeah,
I
sure
didn't
do.
realize it because I was so cracked out on potato chips. I was looking at it like, all right, I'm just walking down this aisle to get to my certain flavor of potato chip drug, you know, and
Mhm.
they would make these potato chips in like some of the most delicious drug combinations that that just
Oh yeah.
keep you hooked. And it's more than just the excitotoxins that are in it. It's also the shape and the crunch. I mean, they're in the laboratory studying this deep, studying it real deep to keep everyone on Shutter Island. And it's just, they're what was it, the Cheeto or something like that. It's a
Oh,
certain
a Cheeto.
yeah, yeah, it's a crunch that they would be like, okay, this crunch, and that crunch, so it's hitting your
Yeah, I love those crunchy Cheetos. Those are good.
yeah, I mean the way it leaves the residue on the hand, all of that stuff is the experience of
Hmm.
being a one of the a chipper basically.
Chipper.
True. Yeah. Yeah, it really it's affecting the hormones. It's affecting the way people behave in ways that they wouldn't believe.
Hmm.
That's the crazy thing. People would be like, "That's preposterous to think that," but it's the truth. It's the
Hmm.
truth. And once again, people, we're seeing it from one angle, saying, "Look, it's casting the shadow." So, I'm just telling you what I'm seeing, and they're like, "Nah, I see a square." Or I see a circle. And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm not saying that the circle isn't there. I'm saying, but this is another thing that it's showing too. Like that movie Revolver, it keeps people, in check with their ego to say, like, okay. But when I look at illusions like this illusion should make people question reality.
Now, is it because of the green background, whereas the top doesn't only has the blue? Does that have something to do with it? Or
You mean like the blue and the green, the carpet looking thing on the
yeah,
bottom?
does that affect the perception?
You know something? That's a very good question. Matter of fact, let me see if I can change the background and see how it looks. See, this is where the science, this is the real, this is where when people like, especially with the shape of the earth, it's like, look, let's do the experiment.
Yeah.
So like how you're saying with this, I'm saying, okay, so I'm looking at the picture, seeing, okay, I'll change the background. Uh and see if those colors look closer together. So is that what you think?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like
So
it's a process of
what do
elimination.
you think the
Hmm.
background should be?
Just blue, the same as the top, blue
Okay,
all
so you want
around.
the bottom one to be the same blue. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so what I'm doing is here, let me show you. I don't know if this is let
Hmm.
me see if I can share my screen. Okay. Share. Uh, window. Okay. Can you see the sketchbook program here?
Yes.
Okay. So now this thing right here on the top, I'm going up on the top right. I just pressed it. When I now you see it over here, I'm on the screen. When I touched the blue, now it just took that same exact color blue to where, look at when I make a mark. You see how it's the exact color?
Right, right.
Okay, so that's the tool I just used to let you know. So now being that this has like a type of okay, yeah, that's too much. I gotta color it in by hand
Have you
because
go around it, around the
yeah,
object?
yeah, I gotta go around it. So I kind of right there. They also have a tool that when you
Hmm.
get like you can make a perfect straight line, but I'm just lazy to find that where it's at. I'm not really that great with Sketchbook, but it's a great program. Okay, so we're changing the background to
Hmm.
blue. This is a sloppy, I'm not doing, I'm just doing it by hand with the
No, it's
mouse.
all good. It's all good.
Yeah, so now with that, now I can make it bigger. Take this out. So now the main
And
thing that
so
we're
it's,
looking at, you're trying to say the
yeah,
gray
so
on top should look closer to B on bottom.
I'm just wondering if it would, what that effect had on it, that background, but it looks like it didn't have any effect on it.
Yeah, yeah.
So what would be the other thing that,
Now, let me show you what I did. All right, I'm clicking the thing on the right. I'm touching the gray. You see where I'm by the letter A? Can you see
yes.
that?
Hmm.
Okay, so I just touched that. Now it cloned the color. So that's how you clone the color. You press this here, boom,
Hmm.
now it cloned it, right? Now I'm
Hmm.
going to go here. We're saying that this color here, up here, is different from this color back here, right? But they're
Right,
the
they both
same
look
color,
different.
right? Now look, right here, I stretch it down, boom, same exact color. See it?
Right.
So this right here is the same color as this on the bottom. And when I take those away, it gives the illusion that they're not. When I put them back, you see it, right?
But what is that doing? Is it blocking out the light maybe or
No, it's just showing that
hmm,
this, for some reason, the way the light is reflecting down on the top here,
right.
uh, and now the shadow is here, there's some type of illusion that, I'm not even sure if we can train our mind to see where A is the same color as B because it's the light hitting this and
Hmm.
this being in the shadow. So it's more
Yeah.
than just, it's just, I mean, this is an amazing,
So it seems like the shadow was having an effect on the color. The shadow of the light, right?
yeah.
Okay. So that was the main thing, not the
No,
background.
not an effect on the color, an effect on our perception.
Perception. Yeah,
Because
exactly.
the color's still the same. It's just our perception and how we're seeing it.
So then shadows play an intricate role in our perception based
Yeah.
on that picture, right? So we could say for certain that the way the light reflects off certain objects and cast shadows
Hmm.
will affect our perception of said object, whether
Yeah.
it be the color or maybe even the shape. I don't know.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm just taking guesses. So at least that's one part of the puzzle we're kind of figuring out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that was a good question you had. So now this is the value of that. We proved it, and we didn't have to prove it to anybody else but ourselves,
Right.
because that's where the real knowledge is at.
Yes.
So we just gained self knowledge and knowing that wow, somebody might say, well, what if the bottom was blue, like you were saying? So we
Right.
tested
Exactly.
that, and
Yep.
obviously that illusion is an extremely strong illusion.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a very strong illusion when I think
But we
about it.
eliminated the background as having any influence on our perception. It wasn't the background, it was the shadow. We were able to conclude with that. So
Yeah.
great job, MD. That was a great job.
Yeah, thanks. Great question, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
these illusions. I said, let me collect them because I remember you were saying yesterday.
Hmm.
I This is the strongest one I've found so far.
And it has a shadow on it too. It has a shadow.
Yes. So in other words, the shadow where the orange is at makes it maybe look orange, or the light on the other ones make them look brown. But when you cover them on the right, you see they're all the same shade of brown, right?
That's a great point. Yeah.
So we see that. This is another one similar to the gray.
Hmm.
Yeah, these illusions, the shape ones though, that's where it's at. The shape ones is definitely.
So depending on where the shadow's cast and where our position is, we could see something completely different based
Mhm.
on the reflection of the shadow, based on our position to an object, we might see something completely different because of a shadow casting over it.
Yeah. And if we take the shadows out of the equation and we say, okay, we're just looking at that side, which casts a shadow, a different shadow.
Mhm.
Somebody else looking at it is looking at it from the front and seeing a part that we might still be seeing part of, but we're seeing more. It's kind of like how we're in the north, so we're going to see stuff in the sky that's very more toward the north. And some, as you travel down to Florida, you're going to see a different, like Florida, I think is the most northern point where you can still see I think it's Alpha Centauri. It's like one of the close stars. And so it shows like, okay, the proximity with that. So the shape, like somebody might say, okay, I'm seeing, like if we were to set a can in the middle and we're looking at it and you say, okay, I see the label on the front. And then I say, well, I see like part of the label, like the side of it, and then the part where they have the ingredients on the back. You can't see the back, you just see the full label on the front.
Mhm.
And I'm saying, okay, now I don't even have to fully believe, but I say, okay, I could see a little bit of it on the side, but I see this from the back. And then somebody else sees it, they see it from a different part, and they say, oh, I see the rest of the ingredients and where it connects to the front again, to where there's this what looks to be a label. So we're each giving each other information to figure out what this thing is.
Yes,
Kind of like, the elephant thing. And the elephant thing it's a good analogy because we really don't know what reality is.
hmm
It's a very profound question.
it is.
And, people think they know, but what they know, I would say, is part of reality,
Right.
not reality in its entirety. I mean, not even a fraction, really, honestly,
I agree. No, I 100% agree with that.
because reality is infinite, infinite.
Yes.
And we think about that, like, wow, this is a trip. We're on a trip from life to death, and we don't know. Like, I think somebody posed a good point, like, what if it's not, you know, or if it's nothing? But when you think about that, you say, okay, so then all of this just having no meaning, It just doesn't make
Doesn't work.
sense.
It makes zero sense. Plus, why would we be here if it was nothing? Why would we even exist if it was nothing? It just doesn't work. It has to be something.
Yeah. And I can understand that, yeah, there could be a period of nothing. Maybe
Hmm.
it's the nothing that I don't remember before, I was born, because we don't really remember when we were infants. I don't know anybody that really can remember, like with, how do you even, well, you have to verify it with the mother, I guess, or the parents, to say, oh, yeah, the child.
And we can't consciously remember, but we maybe have some deep subconscious memories.
Yeah, possibly, possibly. It's like the first, like when you think about your memories, it's hard to think about memories when you're one or two, but there's a point when you start to say, okay, this is my oldest memory. Mine, I think, goes back to me being three. And I remember it was like, I was eating part of a cake, like the icing off of a cake. And I can remember it pretty clearly, but then I don't remember like much more from that. I remember jumping on the bed. Uh, yeah, when I think back at that, I'm like, wow, that's the most distant memory I can think of when I was 3 years old.
Mm.
And I'm some people only can remember back until they were five. Some people, I would think, maybe they remember back until they were younger than three, maybe even two. But I would say that, the line, of people that could even maybe possibly go back and remember a faint memory from when they were one is very, very minimal, uh, amount of people. Retro says, I think the AI war started a week or so ago. The chessboards are about to lose pieces. I don't get it. The
It's a
chessboard.
little vague. It's a little vague.
Yeah, it's a little vague. If you could explain it. Um, yeah. And then we have that in there, the AI. But with the neurotoxin, the excitotoxins, man, that part of the lab is crazy, man. It really is. The supermarket lab. It just when anybody can type it in and read the flavor saver tomato with it was on the market without people knowing. I don't know if you heard about that.
The flavor saver tomato?
Yeah,
No, I didn't hear about that. Sounds familiar though.
yeah. The flavor saver tomato um, was it had a gene in it. It was
Hmm.
a GMO, purely straight out the lab. An enzyme for softening the fruit. It had an inhibitor for that, so the tomatoes would stay firmer. They wouldn't get, how tomatoes will get mushy over time.
Right.
So the mushy gene was, so this is straight Franken food type of thing, approved, right? Uh,
Hmm.
in '94, and it failed commercially. It was in the market, and it was pulled back due to the low yields and all of that stuff. But also, people didn't like the way it tastes. You know,
Hmm.
the crazy thing is that it was for sale with nobody. Like we were the experiment basically. If you were getting it that wasn't organic, and even the organic, some places can lie.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Exactly.
Mariko says, sorry, I tried to respond earlier, but my laptop needs defragging. Very hard to type and send. We'll try on another stream after closing tons of tabs. Thank you. I appreciate the comment. Thank you. Yeah. The the whole flavor saver. Um, what was the other one? The papaya. They have like some type of GMO papaya. Um,
Mm.
and there's a few others. The salmon. I don't know if you've heard of the salmon, right?
No, I didn't hear about that. No.
yeah, they have, I forgot what gene it was that they used to modify it. Um, let me see, the salmon, because some of it is cloned too. Uh,
Hmm.
let me see, GMO salmon. Uh, what genes? All right, so what genes does GMO salmon contain? Because usually they'll I don't like using the word tweak because it's
Hmm.
that makes it sound like not as bad as it actually is, because it's very, I consider it to be bad. It's a growth hormone gene in the Chinook salmon in the Pacific that instructs the fish to produce growth hormone year round rather than only during the certain seasons. So they basically interfered with the gene in the fish. Uh, Probably, and I'd have to look deeper into the study. There's a an article about it.
But then you have to ask your question, why? Why are they doing this? You know, is it really for profit? I don't think so. I think that they could just harvest fish like crazy. They wouldn't need to do this. It has to be some other reason behind it. They want people to get sick, I think.
I think it's basically, it's really messed up. It's like
Hmm.
so people can't get normal fish, like where they have to go to them. It says that um, they're messing with the genetic switch derived from ocean pout, like an eelfish.
Hmm.
Holy smokes. And then that's attached. So they're taking the gene from an eel-like fish, as a switch, and attach it to the salmon growth hormone gene to ensure it remains active or on, basically.
Hmm.
Um, that is crazy. That
Yeah,
is
why are they doing this? For what? Do they even give a reason why they're doing this?
This is like, and then it tries to say like, oh, don't worry,
Good
the
for you.
fish are engineered to be sterile. Check this out. This is crazy. It says the fish are engineered to be sterile females to prevent interbreeding with wild populations. Right now,
Hmm.
it's still females. Some of those females might not be. I've heard there's been stories that some have gotten away and possibly could have bred and not been fully sterile, because it's sterile for, how long has those experiments been done to say, does the animal stay sterile, whatever, you know,
Hmm.
they're genetically altering this thing to grow constantly by attaching this other gene into it. This is crazy. This is off the handle, man.
It is. It really is.
So now, even if it's not interbreeding, right? So it's
Hmm.
sterile, right? They're totally overlooking the thing that there's who wants to eat a genetically modified fish like this
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Yeah, and then there's other things too. I forgot some of the other stuff was the feed, like the type of feed that they feed them. It's just, I mean, and like you said, why?
Hmm.
The GMO fish is just ridiculous, man. Mr. Super Sidewinder, good to see you, bro. Always a pleasure.
Hmm.
Grapples and cotton candy grapes are delicious. Retro's hilarious, man. Retro is hilarious. Yeah, that when I think about so you have different fruits, you have animals like salmon. Who knows what else? Because they're not going to. Oh, you know something? I think in 2008, cloned beef was made legal to be sold. Um,
Really?
yeah, let me see.
It's like cloning the cow?
I think it's yeah, I think it's cloning of the cow, but it
Why
could
do you
also,
need to do that? The cows have plenty of kids. You don't need to clone them. You
well,
know? It's like, why?
all right. So I just typed in, was cloned beef available? So was cloned beef available?
Mhm.
AI comes up with, yes, meat and milk from cloned cattle, pigs, and goats was deemed safe for human consumption by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration in 2008. This is crazy, bro.
But why do they need to do that? It's just like just have kids. You know what I mean? To be playing beef and
Yeah, they'll
cattle.
probably be like, well, the conditions with
Hmm.
the mortality rate and all of that, because they know they're just, I mean, these are slave camps for animals, basically. I
Hmm.
mean, it's really horrific when you think about it. It is horrific. It's like me just, thinking it's just like, man, even though I do, I used to be vegetarian, vegan, now I eat, uh, I'll buy sardines, eat sardines, eggs,
Hmm.
so yeah, eggs. But when you look at the, chicken, and it was like over a decade since I ate that, and this was like the first year that I started back, and last year too. But I started with fish for the last couple of years, and then this is the first year for like uh, chicken, and turkey I was eating last year. But yeah, it's when you look at the farms and you look at like what uh, if I had to be a butcher, I'd probably be vegetarian.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, yeah, because to butcher it, I mean, if I learned, okay, I mean, it's brutal when you think about carving out the breast of a chicken or something like that,
Hmm.
or even just, I mean, people do it. I mean, I got to give them a lot of credit. The skill that it takes to be, um, you know, to be able to do that, like you see people butcher up a cow and stuff like that. Um, yeah, I mean, I could possibly do it if I was taught it. It'd be a lot to figure that stuff out. You got
Oh
to,
yeah. I take out all the guts and everything and
yeah.
remove
I don't
anus and
know if
everything.
have you butchered an animal?
No, I've never had. I've seen videos on it, but I've never done it personally. No.
Yeah, so it's like, it's not the most I mean, some people don't have a problem with it. They straight Jeffrey Dahmer and something, or because when you think about it, it's like it really, yeah, it's something with it, man. There's something that I'm like, man, I don't think I want to go through all of that. But I remember Gary Null had a radio program, and he was just honest with it. He said, yeah, he goes, you don't want to see anything. You don't want to see the cow's face. You don't want to, hear, whatever, the moo, all of that.
Hmm.
You just want it on the plate,
Right.
and it's like, and I'm like, now I kind of think about that. Um,
I do know the Japanese, they give their cows massages before they kill them. They give them real long, like not even just before, but like for a long time, they massage the cow.
yeah,
And that's how the beef comes out so good, the Wagyu and everything like that. I guess
huh?
it comes out really the best
Yeah,
steaks are from Japan is because they make sure the cow is relaxed before they kill him. So there's no adrenaline that get caught in the meat.
that's crazy, man. That
Mhm.
is crazy. But I really, I mean, I appreciate the insight that Zach was given with the gematria and the other stuff
Mhm.
like that. He's got a lot of knowledge on that. I don't totally see the exact. I mean, in the sports and stuff, I do, but as far as like reality wise with the control, I'm saying okay. So, like I was saying before, what do we do? What's the next step as far like what would a person like use that knowledge for? Like knowing
Right.
that the water, they pollute the water. All right, that knowledge, you say, okay, I got to get a filter. So it's like I guess if that's it, it's like don't make them more powerful or try not
Mhm.
to engage in certain things. But all the institutions, I mean, they're yeah, they're almost everywhere. It seems like.
But I think we got something good here, like with the casting of the shadows, because maybe there's things that we can put shadows on and see something different. Maybe there's a message or something hidden there,
Yeah,
that's trying to get to our subconscious that we
yeah,
can't see. But if we cast a shadow over it, maybe we can see it.
Hmm. Yeah, we say, okay, with the shadow, it looks like this.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that, yeah, that's actually a good way of looking at it because it gives us another way to see something to say, hey, wait a second, this thing could actually be, um, well, some of it has a shadow. So, like when we
Hmm.
look at this, there's really, they have some of them that's contrast. Like this one is pure contrast.
Right.
So the small square is both the same color, and of course, when I cover it, you see they're exactly the same color. But
Right.
without that, it's just the contrast. It's not the shadow. So the gray one works more on the shadow, and the orange to brown works with the shadow. But there are other ones that, contrast. So contrast can affect it, shadow can affect it, light can also affect it because the one with the shadow
Hmm.
was a play of both shadow and light.
Well, those structures, like at Rome, you were putting up videos before the dome structure. It includes even at the in the White House, in our also the structures we have here in America. But they have a dome at the top. They allow sunlight to penetrate inward.
Hmm.
Well, why is that? There must be a specific reason. Maybe is it to cast a shadow at a certain time of the day, at a certain area within the building to reveal something. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. No,
mhm.
it's true. Um, yeah,
All the Roman structures had that dome, and in the middle there would be a circle, an opening.
yeah, yeah. The
Mhm.
GMO food, man. I mean, it's crazy because when they say something like modified starch, that's modified. It's like, um, but the status in 2008, because I remember in 2008 they were saying that cloned beef was for sale, and this is cloned beef, like how you were saying. Is it are they cloning the animal or whatever? This is cloning, basically. Anybody can look it up. Was cloned beef available? And it's basically cloning, producing hot clones from superior herds. They try to say, uh,
Mhm.
and where was it? It says. In 2008, the FDA finalized its report stating that food from animal clones is safe to eat. Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
Holy, as from conventionally bred. This is this is I don't even know what to say, man. It's like
Yeah.
this is yeah, it's Canada was updating policies to allow meat from cloned cattle and
Mhm.
swine, so pigs, to enter the food supply with some regulations not requiring special labeling. Holy smokes. They're like, look, we're not even going to label it. Are you crazy? And it says it's important to differentiate cloned meat, a genetic copy of an animal, from cultivated or lab grown meat grown in a lab. Hmm. Okay. So, which is now also beginning to receive approval for sale in the US. So, not only are you getting the genetic copy of an animal, right? The cloned meat, you're also getting the cultivated lab grown meat. So, you're getting the lab slab, and then getting the other one. Scientists determine, says this convo are so much more high IQ than just improving look and making money. Thanks, man. Yeah, yeah. X and I get into some deep combos. Zach was getting into some good stuff when he was on yesterday. Um, yeah, I hope, he definitely shows like a lot of knowledge on that. I mean, not just the Jesuit thing, man, but there was just so much other stuff with dates and numbers. There is a mathematical reality. There's definitely the math, like how we see the shadows and how it can affect stuff. He sees the math, and it's like that's very important to add all of the information together. Um, like look at the cloned meat. I mean, cloned meat. You don't want to. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy that it's basically cloned meat. I mean, that's a serious thing to nobody hears, and that just shows you the apathetic attitude of society. Not all of society, but this is the zombie part. This is the zombie apocalypse. This is the reference to the zombie movie Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where you see everybody mostly, small clusters here and there of survivors that have to either imitate the zombies or evade them and hide. And that's what we see. You have to wear a certain mask to operate in society, especially in certain work environments. And then when you're not there, you can relax. But that tells you a lot about society, how fake it is.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, I mean, just the food, man. When I think about that, it's like, why? Like you said, it's like, why? Why are they messing with this gene in the salmon, the papaya? It was some type of from growing the papayas, they had like this virus or something, this ring type of virus, or I forgot what it was called, that would attack the papaya plants. And so now that it seems they always do something like, or something like that always happens, and then they say, oh well, the answer is to genetically modify the papaya. And I think a lot of ones from Hawaii had that.
And remember, this is what they're telling us that they're doing. I mean, who knows what they're not telling us?
Exactly,
You
exactly.
know, that's the part. We're only seeing a small piece of the puzzle.
Hmm.
We're just going based on that, but it could be well much worse than what we can imagine.
Yeah. No, exactly. We don't know what. Yeah, like a lot of people, they speculate. Like, could be some soil and green stuff happening.
Hmm.
What do you think about nanobot technology inside of human beings? It's definitely a reality. I mean, we have nanoplastics, smart dust. Mariko says sardines in water and wild caught salmon are probably the healthiest ones if you're going to have. The GMO man made viruses are grown in eggs in labs before they jab the kids. The Vi Okay, so they favor eggs. Wow, thanks. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, yeah, the sardines, yeah. And I used to get mackerel. Mackerel's like a really good it has I think more nutrients than sardines, but I've noticed that there's been a it's been hard to find for the last like couple of months in the supermarket where the mackerel is just disappeared. Yeah. So it makes me wonder again, like Soylent Green, when the robot was saying that they no, Logan's Run, I think it was, when he said that they overfished, but also in Soylent Green, I think in the encyclopedia, they were talking about the overfishing and pollution. Pollution eliminates a lot of life forms too that a lot of people, for some reason, we tend to forget it easily. And that I think is part of the zombie machine. It has like a dampening effect. Like the fact that Dr. Jose Delgado did the experiments using radio wave transmissions to induce apathy and aggression in test monkeys. I mean, this is horrible experiments from the 50s and 60s. He did it with an implantation in the bull's skull in the 50s to stop it from charging with the remote control, and it worked. I mean, this is the crazy thing. This is beyond Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. This is Frankenstein level. This is Frankenstein level stuff. What they do, I think they what was it? The spider goat goat let me see. Goat with spider genes. I mean, why? Why? It's something with silk. So genetically modified goats that contain genes from the golden orb weave spiders allow them to secrete spider silk proteins in their milk. The scientists created this, they call it a marvel. Scientists created this marvel because farming actual spiders is impossible due to their cannibalistic nature. The purified proteins are spun into high strength fibers. So so you know, they've mixed spider genes into a goat, and they call them spider goats. And this, when I say that we are living in the experiment, we are living in the experiment. It's just what it is. So spider goats, right? The process, researchers take the specific gene responsible for producing the dragline silk. So this is the strongest type of silk of the spider web. And they place it into the DNA. So that dragline silk type of spider web is placed into the DNA that controls the goat's milk production. This is insane. This is I feel like Dr. Frankenstein telling Igor, like Igor, take the drag silk line and place it into the DNA that controls the goat's milk production. Harvesting. The goats look and behave like normal animals, even though they've been basically violated with the spider gene. This is brutal, man. When they produce milk, it looks identical to regular milk, but contains the added spider silk protein. This just raised the thought. I know they sold this milk to somebody to drink. I know somebody had to drink that. This is holy smoke. So they added the spider silk protein to the milk. The protein is then filtered out and purified in a laboratory. So they're trying to say that it's, hard to produce spider silk. So, we had to do this because we're such great people, I mean, that's crazy. That's insane. That is insane. Who thinks this stuff up? Who thinks this stuff up? Hey, let's take the gene from the spider and put it into the DNA that controls the goat's milk production.
Why?
To produce the protein without having to use spiders, because the spiders are cannibalistic and we can't breed them. It would take too much, to just, I mean, holy smokes, man. It's like, okay, what do you want the silk for? Okay, I know they make clothing with silk, spider silk. It's like very expensive, but maybe the spider wasn't created to make silk for us on that level.
Right.
I mean, this whole thing with the spider goats, and it's purified in the laboratory. How? I'm pretty so the current status of the project, pioneered initially by Nexia Biotechnologies. The research was expanded and is currently managed by molecular biologists like Dr. Randy Lewis at Utah State. So the long-term goal, they're trying to transition away from animals entirely. So they want to insert the same silk-producing genes into alfalfa plants. Holy smokes, which would allow for even larger scale, cost effective production of the material. Holy smokes. So they're just like, look, we were just testing it on goats. Um, don't worry, we made them sterile so they won't breed. If
Yeah.
you believe that. But
That's what
now
they did on Plum Island, all those animal experiments. They did stuff just like that.
this is
Plum Island.
this is beyond Plum Island. This is Shutter Island. This is
Mhm.
straight Shutter Island type of stuff.
And
It
that's
just
what they would do. They would do experiments in the old days at the mental institutions on the
yeah,
mentally ill. They would
yeah,
try different things.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that they have the spider goats, right? That's crazy enough to say, you know, it's like who just, this is beyond Shutter Island.
Hmm.
Uh, but what makes this look even crazy, right? And this,
Hmm.
not this is on a level of crazy that's very high, straight nutcase city. Um, but they have something else they did with modifying genes that made what they call a glowing monkey.
Glowing monkey.
Yeah. So anybody can look up GMO, which would stand for genetically modified organism. GMO, you just type it in to Google, GMO glowing monkeys. And it'll pop up and talk about how scientists have created genetically modified monkeys that glow green under ultraviolet light using green fluorescent proteins from jellyfish.
Wow.
This is off the Richter scale. This is Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type of the key breakthroughs. That's the breakthrough, the word, right? So, what they used in this glowing monkey research, the scientists at Oregon National Primate Research produced a monkey named Andy,
Hmm.
and the cells were integrated. His cells were successfully integrated uh, with the jellyfish, and he did not visually glow, but this is crazy. The Japanese researchers successfully bred common marmosets that glowed green. So now you have the monkeys that they genetically modified that glowed under the light, and then you had the ones that just glowed. The Japanese researchers were like, "Look, man, it's like hold my bear," and they successfully bred the common marmoset that glowed green. These monkeys were the first primates to pass the genetically engineered glowing trait onto their offspring. So much for like the salmon when they say, "Oh, the females are sterile."
Mhm.
You just can never believe them. So now you got glowing monkeys that they put the jellyfish gene in, and they're breeding them and passing on the glowing genes. Holy smokes.
For
This
what? That's what I'm wondering. What was the purpose of that?
to their offspring. So the first glowing chimera, scientists in China engineered a chimeric monkey, meaning that it was created from the cells of two different embryos. So now they tag the stem cells with this jellyfish gene, the glowing gene, resulting in a baby monkey with visibly glowing eyes, fingertips, and other tissues, proving how efficiently stem cells contribute to a developing primate. This is crazy Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Why researchers use this technology? Oh man. monkeys because of the what they say are they're closer to humans than traditional lab animals. But I think they did have a glowing rabbit. Now that I think about it, the glowing marker lets scientists easily. It lets them see if an inserted gene takes hold. Wow, this is crazy, man. So now we got the glowing monkeys and we got the spider gene in the goat. And but they want to put it in the alfalfa plant. So it's just like, yeah, you think about that. Yeah, the glowing mice and then the mouse that they grew the human ear on. Timbo, good to see you, brother. He says they also had a plan to make lightweight, bulletproof armors for. Yeah, yeah, you're right about that, man. Yeah, you definitely. Yeah, the mackerel and trout is. Yeah, the mackerel I like. I definitely do. Um, they might as well give superpowers along. I mean, we're we're on such a level of being experimented on. I don't even know how to. It's not like even a constant thing that we can. I mean, first when you look at the sky and it looks like a crime scene with all these trails, and then you go to the supermarket and you realize all the fruit and vegetables have been sprayed with some type of pesticide. It's just ridiculous. The processed foods up and down the aisles are just some of the ingredients. You look at that and you say, "You got to be kidding me!"
Yeah.
You know, yeah, yeah.
And so many countries, I mean, like even in America, I watch these videos all the time of these different towns and I go to different places that are like dead. And it's like, there's so many places just here in the richest country in the world that these towns are just filled with poor people, no jobs, and meth everywhere. It's like they really are because who created the meth? That had to come from a lab. There's no way some street dealer created meth. You know what I'm saying? That had
Yeah,
to come
no,
from
the
some other,
government. Yeah, the
yeah, the
government.
government. Yeah,
The government. Clearly, the government, man. It's like never underestimate the government.
no,
It's like
no.
never underestimate that, bro.
It's like I watch these videos and I don't realize how many addicts there are out there in this world. These
Mhm.
towns, these.
Yeah.
Like I was watching one today. Software Underbelly's got one. West Virginia. It was the actually he was interviewing the son and the daughter of a Klansman, and it was pretty interesting. They're from West Virginia, but you could tell that there's something wrong with them. You know what I mean? Something in their genetics messed up. You know what I'm saying? They didn't talk good. You know what I mean? They didn't have all their mental faculties there. And they said the father actually he burned himself alive. That's how he died. So go figure that one. You know what I mean? Um, but
Wow.
yeah, a lot of these places, these remote villages, you see some serious mental health problems all over the place. That undiagnosed mental health. I think you see that in all the poor areas. Undiagnosed mental illness all over the place because there's different levels to it. Some are just blatantly obviously you know that somebody's nuts, but other ones are more subtle. But they still suffer from mental illness for sure. You know.
Remember when that bath salt thing was going on? The bath salt, was it?
Yeah, yeah, no, there's big time down here in Florida. We'd see stories about guys running around naked because I guess it heats up the body so much they just take their clothes off,
And what
run
was
around
that?
naked.
It was like an epidemic or something, or
Ah, I don't know how much is nothing like what the meth epidemic has become or the crack epidemic. I mean, it was out there, but I don't take it, so I'm not too familiar with it. But I know people who took it just really flipped out. Um, that's all I know about it. Somebody's just flipping out and.
I remember it was on the news, right?
Yeah, down here is on the news, just people running around naked, basically. One guy was eating some guy's face. I don't know, like from bath salts or something. They were doing some crazy stuff. Really get psychotic. Um, I mean, to keep the poor people mentally ill is a very powerful thing. I mean, they can really control the masses that way.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Mhm.
It really is.
Think about it, if you're paranoid, are you really gonna, you're gonna be scared of anything. You're not gonna really think about what's really going on. You're just gonna live
Hmm.
a paranoid life. stay in the house and eat junk food, basically.
The
Pretty much
junk
what they
food,
do. What was that?
the addiction to the junk food is
Hmm.
very, very strong,
Yeah.
and it's everywhere.
Hmm.
Everywhere you turn, it's always available. Kind of like alcohol.
Yeah. 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 You get people just, yeah, they go mentally ill. I mean, I mean, some of these TV shows, they look stupid to me, but I guess if you're mentally ill or not there mentally, maybe you enjoy them more. I don't know.
Hmm.
Some of these Netflix series, they're terrible, but maybe but somebody's watching them and they're enjoying them for whatever reason. So who knows what the plan is out there? Maybe if they can affect your IQ level and bring it down a few notches, you're just easily more susceptible to everything. As long as you can work and produce money and buy their products, they're happy.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Hmm.
You think about it, it's. I mean, people working together can produce so much more. Even Finland was saying that it's cheaper to house people than to have them be out, to where they're in need. You supply the need, and it's actually cheaper for the economy. And
Yeah,
they were saying they were wondering why. So it's like a purposeful, on purpose, that they're like just causing it, it's really like it's insidious when you think about it. Like, wow.
but California passed. I can't remember. You can look up the law. I think it was over 300 million for the homeless and there's homeless situation there. But within 3 months, I think the money just disappeared. It just disappeared, and nothing came back to the homeless at all.
So
So
the corrupt.
yeah, the corruption's off the chain here. So nothing's going to work with our government. Pretty much. It's too corrupt.
Yeah, you have to fix the corruption first. It's like that's the hole in the boat.
Right.
Like how Azarun, when he came on the other day and he was talking about the corruption in India.
Hmm.
I mean, we're knee deep in that stuff here.
We are. We definitely are. That's why you can't trust the government to solve anything. It's not going to work. They're not going to solve a thing. Yeah.
It's like if you think the government's going to fix something, it's like writing a letter to Santa Claus and expecting it
Yeah.
to do something.
Hmm. Yeah. Exactly.
And,
Hmm.
the government, the politic thing, people are straight on Shutter Island.
They are. They are. Like, this guy's going to get elected. He's going to solve all the problems. They create some fantasy in their mind of what he's going to do, but he never does it. Just and they know how to make their speeches to create that fantasy in the public that, oh, this is what he's going to do. He's going to change it all. But none of that's going to happen. Obviously,
You
it's
know,
going to be the same playbook.
like that song from Fleetwood Mac, "Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies,
Hmm. Exactly.
tell me lies." Yep.
Mhm.
I mean, we live in a technological cult of death.
Yes, but
There
you
was,
look at the history of the world. When has it ever been good? If you think about it, when has it ever really been good?
there has to be good times. I think that
Hmm.
edit they edit that out. So the murderers that write history and the cautious that edit that, they want to make sure that people don't ever hear or talk about the ancient utopias, because if they did, they would say, well, why aren't we living in a utopia now? It happened before. So they control the narrative to where every story tells of irresponsibility. Oh, there was never this, it's always been this way. Just the way they show cop shows with criminals always getting caught. Now, criminals get away.
Right.
They'll have stuff, you know, uh, bulletin points out on them, whatever, wanted posters. Now, they'll only show the continual catching of them to demoralize people, just the way, like they say throughout history, there's always been slavery. There's never been a utopia civilization. But there seems that wouldn't make sense. That it seems that there would have been some, at least a couple. Let's even say, like, out of 100 ancient civilizations, that maybe only 10 were utopia, but that's still utopia. It shows that it works. It shows that it could happen. So they're saying, no, every instance will get people to believe that it has never been done. So it'll be harder for them to achieve. If they knew that it had been accomplished before, it makes it easier to accomplish again.
But it can't be accomplished with the government. It can't be. It's too corrupt.
Yeah, not a corrupt government.
Yeah.
And the only way to prevent that, the people have to do the work for themselves.
That's true.
What prevents that is sloth. So the apathy of sloth prevents a person, and you have to cooperate, because you got to have the farmer. You have to have the farmer. This whole system of food, when you look at how it works, I mean, it's a very vast system.
It is.
Just to get simple products that you see in the supermarket, you look back at the process and it's crazy.
Yeah. No, it's complex. It's not, it's, as I say, easier said than done, to keep a society. There's a lot of pieces to it. That's for sure.
I mean, I wonder, how do we get an apple from New Zealand? I mean, how is that even cost efficient? It's like, right? I mean, the apple would be like $50 if it was, you think of the fuel. That's insane. Fruit coming from New Zealand and Australia, kiwis, stuff like that.
Exactly.
It really makes me wonder. It's sort of like again, like the whole data center thing, that jumping up, and then it's just like, oh, this is basically a surveillance center.
Yes.
Mariko says, status symbol in my driveway is the name of his song about cloning. And phosphorescent secret. He says, I'm going to build somebody else. It may cost a little more than money. Wow. That's deep. That is deep, man. So is the name of his song about cloning. Status symbol in my driveway. Wow. I tell you, the cloning, it had to have been here at least 50 years. 20 years ago, what was it? 25, 20, almost 30 years ago, they cloned the sheep, right?
Yeah. I think, I can't remember offhand.
Yeah, I mean, I think about that, like, man, Gigi's got a good point there. Yeah. The whole biomedical research on monkeys, man. That is so, they don't care. You have a glowing sheep So not only did they do a glowing monkey, they did the sheep, they did the rabbit, the mice. I mean, this is beyond island of Dr. Moreau, beyond the island. A sheep. I mean, what's next? A cow? Or maybe they have done it to a cow before. It's possible. But yeah, it's getting a little late. It's 12:40. Not 12:50. Wow. 12:49. But yeah, we'll stream we stream every night. So
Sounds
probably
good.
yeah, 10:30. I'll see if anything early. Mariko
Perfect.
says GMO MSG is a chemical in all junk foods. Food not considered junk food. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're big on preservatives. I know that to maintain the food, but who knows
Yeah.
what effect that's
Yeah.
having.
Yeah. MSG, they've been using different names for it. She says 30 ingredients found in most foods that are new hidden names for this MSG keeps people addicted to foods. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. It's an excitotoxin for sure. MSG, many different names. I think it was natural flavors was one of them. I mean, just thinking about that they would call it natural flavors. So natural flavors, autolyzed yeast. That's another one. It's, autolyzed yeast. So you have auto autolyzed yeast. Let me see. Um, so names for MSG. I used to have a list of it. Glutamates, glutamic acid, monopotassium glutamate, calcium glutamate. So these are hydrolyzed vegetable protein, HVP. These are also sneaky ingredients that contain a glutamate, a monosodium glutamate. Hydrolyzed plant protein, autolyzed yeast, like I had mentioned before, yeast extract. And when you think of all the different ways they hide MSG in foods, like you were saying, like 30 different names, modified starch, and yes, all flavors will get, yeah, yeah, it definitely, I'll read off some from the list. Um, Soy protein isolate or whey protein isolate, both of those. Textured protein, like they have in the tempeh or whatever that soy fake meat thing is. Um, so the processed flavorings and additives, natural flavoring, of course, soy sauce extract, bouillon, maltodextrin, and malt yeast. I mean, this is again chemistry. This is like a this is yeah, this is chemistry. This is straight pharmacy representative. This is pharmacy. The food is made in a pharmacy, basically. The food slash pharmacy. That's what it is. Brother Ali, good to see you, man. Always a pleasure. Yeah, I was getting ready to end it. You popped in, man. I'm tired. But yeah, we were going through the names in other names for MSG. Mariko brought this up, which was very good thing. Thank you. So while the FDA requires added MSG to be explicitly listed, many ingredients naturally contain or are processed to create a free glutamic acid, producing the same flavor enhancing effect. So this is what they do to crack the food out and get people very, very addicted to it.
I know sunflower oil is used in a lot of preservatives. That,
Oh, really?
like, yeah, sunflower oil, I believe sunflower oil.
Preservative or pesticide?
Oh, no, not pesticide, just in the foods. They constantly put sunflower oil. There's certain oils that are constantly used on many foods.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. They definitely um they push that a lot. Yeah, they definitely push that a lot. It's yeah, that the sunflower oil, the palm oil.
Palm oil, yeah, that too.
I was gonna get these crackers for the soup, and they were organic crackers. Uh, I was reading the ingredients, and it had organic palm oil, and I'm like, I mean, that prevented me from buying it. I wanted to buy it, but I'm like, why do they have palm oil in it?
Mhm.
So then I saw another one, these crackers, and it had less ingredients. But one of the ingredients was canola oil.
Oh, canola oil, yeah, that's the one. Maybe I'm getting confused with canola oil. Oh.
No, no, sunflower oil is definitely there too.
Hmm.
There's no doubt about that. You're definitely spot on with that.
So
But
is that
canola
like a natural
oil,
preservative or something?
huh? What'd
Is
you
that
say?
like a natural preservative?
I don't know. I don't. I heard a natural preservative is like vitamin E. I don't think the oil contains that, but it could. I don't know.
I
I
don't,
don't think so, but there's a possibility. I mean, and the oil I think can also go rancid.
yeah.
I don't know if it would preserve in some way. But when I look at all of these different names for this, yeah, the MSG, it's crazy, man. So definitely yeah, Shutter Island, man. We definitely all on Shutter Island. I give it to DK, man. Definitely on point. But yeah, it's getting on a little. It's 12:56. Yeah, it's almost one. Appreciate hanging out for a while. I'll stream again.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'll be here tomorrow night too.
yeah,
Or tonight, actually.
definitely, definitely, man. All right, we'll talk soon. You take care, everybody in the chat. Thank you for being there. Mariko says that list is actually from Anthony Williams' liver rescue book in his medical medium book series. His info is spread without people knowing it comes from him. Wow, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, I typed it into Google and that's what came up. In the olden days, they'd use lard to preserve their meat. Wow.
Mm.
Wow. Yeah, the I typed in names for MSG and yeah, they showed how it's hidden under dozens of names, but it only provided about 15. And yeah, you were saying there's like 30. Mr. Super Sidewinder, you take care, brother. Have a great night. Everybody in the chat, thank you for being here. Mr. X-Men, I appreciate it. We'll
I
talk soon.
appreciate you, MD. Thanks for having the streams.
Thanks, man. All right. We'll talk soon.
Good night.